Possible military combat deployments in our own neighborhood. Possible military combat deployments in our own neighborhood. That is not normal language from the chairman of Joint Chiefs, and that's not something the military says lightly. The way he phrases it makes it clear. They expect something to change very soon. Take a look.
You look back over the arc of our deployment history over the last few years, we haven't had a lot of American combat power in our own neighborhood. I think I suspect that's probably going to change. We'll see what we're ordered to do, and of course we follow that guidance. But we're definitely spending some time there now.
Top generals almost never speak publicly about potential combat deployments unless talks are already happening behind closed doors. When a general says, "I suspect that's going to change," it means planning is underway and conversations are already happening. And the phrase "in our own neighborhood" strongly suggests he's talking about the United States and not foreign wars. The U.S. almost never positions combat forces inside of its own country. That's insane. But of course, the Trump administration is pressuring them to do this. And it's all about seizing more control and taking away our constitutional rights. This is why the Democratic lawmakers reminded our military to remember their oath. Just think about what's taking place right now. The Trump administration is escalating foreign conflicts in places like Venezuela and domestic ones as well in our own cities. I definitely see why Putin wanted Trump to be the president so badly. He is destroying this country from the inside out.
Facts. First of all, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakadash, double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and a few sisters out there, onto the Israelite foreigners. I'm going to see that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. What he said is 100% facts, and that's something that Trump had said several months ago. All right, and part of that saying that happened several months ago also was said. Damn, I think I still have the video. Let me see if I could bring that out real quick. This is why it's good to kind of save videos. All right, here it is. Here's what the current person that's in charge, and this is what the military is all about right now. So check it out.
Country illegally, and no system can handle that. Well, the Marine Corps finally went and got rid of boot camp. What that means is come October, no longer does recruit training exist. So anybody who goes to a recruiting office will then be shipped directly to their new duty station with their new job, and then they'll get the training there. So that means that there's no unnecessary training events, there is no rifle training, there's no climbing through the mud, and yes, that means no drill instructors. So I just spoke to...
So that was very important and very significant. So during this process, at the same time, what was being said was that they could train here on the U.S. soil. See why everything's coming through? So when that general made that statement, they already have things in motion. There's not going to be no more basic training. It's going to be fuel you just sent to the fire. And they're going to use U.S. territories as a means to train their military. So every single person out here is going to be subjugated to the military. Okay, your own U.S. troops is going to be the ones to throw you in concentration camps, shoot a lot of their own citizens, and a lot of people say, "Oh, that will never happen." People got to stand up and fight against. Yes and no. Remember, what's this guy's name? I don't know. It's like it's a lot of things in mind. Just sometimes you got to put it together. But it was a particular person. I think it was Henry Kissinger. Yeah, I tried to look it up in a previous video. And he said about the military. And he basically said the military men are nothing but, roughly paraphrasing. Let me get that quote. Not the Geico quote. Yep, military service. That's not it. I forgot how he worded it. And I found it after I did the video. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. I think I reworded it. Quote on military. There's one that said that he didn't make this quote. There it is. This is a quote. Military men are dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns for foreign policies. But in this case, it's going to be used for domestic policies. See the conflict there? And that's part of the constitutional rights for foreign and damn, how did I say this again? Well, basically, to fight against foreign entities and to fight against domestic entities. And then when they deem the majority of people here, we call it the National Authorization Act. Sorry, no, national. I had the NDAA. I say like a lot of things in mind. What does it mean again? National Defense Authorization Act, which could deem any person as a threat. What they do with those threats, they could deem them that they need to be taken out, foreign and domestic. So this thing is, if when it goes down, don't look for your local police to aid you. Don't look for your military to protect you, because the simple fact is, this devil cooked certain things in the books. So when he comes down hard, he's going to be justified. Matter of fact, not where I was going to go, but I'm going to go and get this. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and is it? Let me just say, no. Wisdom of Solomon, I'll start at 10. 2 and 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow. No reverence the ancient gray hairs of age. Let our strength be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. So the law of justice, this is how they leave an open interpretation of what is justice. Why we think that everybody has a problem right now. And they say basically, if you come into this country some other way, you came in illegal. So now that you which is, I forgot which act it is called. Sorry, but according to their laws and justice, they could do whatever they want to you. Okay, because they deem you as a criminal. Now, to some, well, if somebody came illegal, they don't have no rights. But what they fail to understand is that you have no rights as well. All right. If you don't fit the narrative of the people that's in charge, they could say whatever they want towards you and you lose your rights. And that's exactly what that National Defense Authorization Act is about. Because it's about deeming whoever to be a threat to the government. And right now, who's a real threat to the government? The people. Sorry to tell you people, but you are a threat to whoever's in power and rulership, because they did the same shit with the other old man, all right, with dementia. Now they put another old man with dementia, and they see that the people, they need to get rid of them. Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. And part of his great wrath is sending the military to a town near you, to a hood near you. This is why they had, what's it, Jade Helms, I believe they call it. It was let me see if they have it. Jade Helm, not 2025. It wasn't 2025. It was 2000, yeah, 2015, some shit like that. Jade Helm, 15. The year came out. Conspiracy theorists were based on Jade Helm, United States military training exercise, which took place in multiple U.S. states between July 15th and September 15th. It's supposed to be more. And in Jade Helm, they did it where? In urban cities. So the urban cities, yes, they had it in Texas, which you know, but there was something, it was mainly in the hoods. And it was running these exercises. These are 10 years ago. All right? Over 10 years ago. So over that 10-year period, now all of a sudden, we're hearing more and more about military going against the civilians. The military going against this, using the military as um, aiding another group of people to kick people out. So you see what's happening. They had these in practice long ago. I forgot what this called. I think it's called the Insurrection Act, because he's been called a state of emergency, but I believe it's called the Insurrection Act. Yeah, it was the Insurrection Act. Let me see what it said. Insurrection. Insurrection. Oh, let me just look it up. Oh, so it's double R. Hold on, Slovakia. Insurrection Act of 1807. The insurrection is a violent uprising or rebellious against established government authority. A serious criminal crime involving active rebellion against the U.S. government, and triggers the Insurrection Act, allowing the president the presidential use of military to suppress it. Though the definition of insurrection and the acts used are a debate complex, involves actual violence, unlike sedition and incitement to rebel. So all this time it's been, and it's the U.S. government that's inciting people to do what? Seduction. All right, and what they're trying to push people to do what? To react. So once they react, then he can use the military to bust people's heads open. So this is all part of the plan. All right. Of course, eventually these nations are going to be swapping out militaries in each because it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's an international conglomerate of individuals, and what they're doing is trying to establish a new world order. All right. It says it can lead to several penalties, including being barred from office. Notes, we're in a center of justice. So we get the idea. So the Insurrection Act. This is what Trump been flexing. And he said we can use that, and he tried to use it under the guise of what? Criminality, under the guise of illegals, which would lead just not the illegals, anybody that comes against him will revolt to what? Martial law. Martial law. Now the only way a president could keep martial being a position of power during martial law is an act of war. So what happens when you deem that the civilians is acting a certain way? There you go. Henceforth, the martial law. 2 Ezra 15 and 14. It says, "Woe to the world and to them that dwell in," which we just read. So the devil's coming down having great wrath. Is Esau. It's not Satan, but his angels coming down to earth is Esau pushing people by seduction or right? It says for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up against another, and swords in their hands. The one-day sword is their gun. So they expect some sort of civil unrest. For there shall be sedition. I keep saying seduction. Sedition among men. So the sedition is what? The incitement. This is why when he made a statement about those Democrats talking about sedition, and that's even when he was in office the last time, the last year, they used certain buzzwords. Everything that is written in the scriptures. All right. And that's what they're inciting people to go against the powers that be. Not physically, that's the insurrection. Insurrection physically. Seduction, keep saying that. Sedition is verbally exciting. So when the Democrats was telling the military not to follow orders, that's a form of sedition. Okay? It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their action shall stand in their power. So people are going to take matters into their own hands because they can't trust the government. So remember, I just read Wisdom of Solomon, 2nd chapter. They're going to be justified by law to harm people, to lock people up. That's why the scripture says, since I'm in the neighborhood, 2 Ezra 16, and we go to the point 70. Yep. It says, for there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. So it's not just going to be about going against the government, it's going to be going against the people, to overthrow the people, to take their guns from them, take their property from them. Because why? They don't have no rights at this time, according to these people that's in power. It says, they shall be like men sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. So it's not just going to be a random house invasion that's going to take place. No. They're going to go up and take your shit because they're going to deem each and every person that come against them as a threat, as a T word. All right? That's what they're going to go by. And that's going to justify them removing your property from you. That's how it goes. So we could clearly see they want to do these exercises because they want to figure out how they're going to do everything. They did it before, but this time they want to make it permanent. This is why after 9/11, especially in New York, we go to Times Square, 34th Street, there was a lot of military personnel just walking around with M16s. And we never really seen that here in New York until after that. And they kept that shit going. And they're just going to do random checks. And they had everybody in fear of a potential another T attack. And it never came. But guess what? They never let go. This is why you have TSA. TSA, you got to pay all this money. Might I add, they never had no other problem after that incident that took place. But they'll, time to time, they will have some BS false flag to justify why TSA needs money, why TSA requires you to bring smaller bottles in, and so forth. So it's all about training the minds of the people. Okay? That's what they're doing. So when they settle in, when they bring in the troops, people are just gonna be able to accept it because it's always been there. With that being said, that's all I want to bring out. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.